Hey you, and welcome to lesson 16. Today we are going to talk about general determiners and specific determiners. I'm going to explain to you what they are and when to use them. We'll also talk about punctuations, hyphens, and intensifiers and mitigators. So let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome to lesson 16. Today we are going to start with determiners. We will talk about two types of determiners: specific determiners and general determiners. So let's start with the specific determiners. So what are specific determiners? Determiners, or what are determiners in general? Determiners are words which come at the beginning of noun phrases. Okay, so we have verb phrases and noun phrases. Noun phrases where, noun phrases are like, my car is blue. My car is blue. This is a noun phrase because I'm talking about my car, which is a noun. So I'm starting with a noun, and that is a noun phrase. So determiners are words that come at the beginning of noun phrases. They tell us whether a noun or a phrase is specific or it's general. Okay? So hence we have general determiners and specific determiners. We're going to start with specific determiners. So specific determiners are the. They're also possessives like my, your, his, her, its, our, their, and whose. Demonstrative pronouns are also determiners. This, that, these, those. Okay, so if I say this guy or that car or these dogs, I'm using specific determiners because I'm saying which one. Or if I say my house, or if I say his company or her office, that is also specific determiners because I'm talking about something that is very specific. So we use we use possessives, or we use demonstrative pronouns to talk about determiners. We use a specific determiner when we believe that the listener, reader, knows exactly what we are referring to. Okay? Let's take a look at some examples. Can you pass me the salt, please? Can you pass me the salt, please? So here the determiner is the, okay? Because we're assuming that the listener knows what salt do I want, or maybe it's the only salt, so can you pass me the salt, please? Because that's the only salt. But if I have like 6 different types of salts, I have pink salt, Himalayan salt, sea salt, or all kinds of salt, and I said, can you pass me the salt, please? Then it will be, it will be confusing because, which salt? Assuming that the listener knows which salt are we talking about, we use the specific article the, or the definite article the. All right, let's take a look at the second sentence. Thank you very much for your letter. So the determiner here is your letter, because the other person knows which letter because he probably sent it to you. So thank you very much for your letter. Whose coat is that? Whose coat is that? We're talking about a specific coat. That coat. Whose coat is that? That one. Look at those lovely flowers. Look at those lovely flowers. Not these. These are ugly. I'm talking about those. Those flowers are lovely. These flowers are terrible. Just joking, right? Just you get the point. Those are determiners. Now let's talk about general determiners, right? General determiners are, so articles a and an. Those are determiners. And whoops, okay, I picked the wrong tool. So a, an, or no determiners. Also, any, another, other. Those are all general determiners. We use general determiners when we are talking about things in general. Okay, not specific things like the first type, but general things. And the listener, reader, does not know exactly what we are referring to. So here, the person we're speaking to doesn't know exactly what we're referring to, so we're using the general determiners. If the listener knows what we're talking about, then we use specific determiners, right? So let's take a look. A and, no determiners, any, other, or another, those are general determiners. The most frequent general determiners is the indefinite article a and an, used with singular nouns. The most, let's take a look at some examples. All right. So, a man came this morning and left a parcel. A man came this morning and left a parcel. General determiner, because a man, some man, any man, not a specific man, not Tony the mailman, but a man, any man. He was wearing a big coat and a cap. Which coat? I don't know. It's just a coat, any coat, general. Which cap? Any cap. Blue cap, red cap, doesn't matter. So he was wearing a coat and a cap. All right. We use no determiners with plural nouns and uncounted nouns because we know that a and an are only for singular noun, and we know that uncountable nouns don't use the article a and an. They could use the, which is the specific determiner, but here we're talking general determiners. So we use no article when we're talking about uncountable or plural nouns. So let's take a look at these examples. Girls normally do better in school than boys. Fact. Girls normally do better than boys. We're talking general, we're talking girls. We're not talking about a specific girl, we're talking about all the girls in the world do better than all the boys in the world because all the boys in the world are too busy thinking about sports and thinking about girls. They're too distracted. They can't focus. Girls, on the other hand, are just focused on their studies. That's why they are better students. Milk is very good for you. Which milk? Any milk. Milk is good for you. All right? Doesn't matter. Almond milk, high protein milk, low fat milk. Milk is good for you in general. Health and education are very important. Okay, again, health and education, those are two uncountable nouns. Health and education, they are both good for you. Oh, actually, they're good for everybody. Oh, no, sorry. That's the previous example. Health and education are very important, of course. Health and education are very important. All right, let's take a look at general determiners with the any. Okay, so with a singular noun or an uncounted noun, when we are talking about all of those people or all of those things, we use any. Okay, what does that mean? All right, let me give you, let's read the examples to clear that out. It is very easy. Any child can do it. It means all the children in the world can do it. So can you. It's not hard. It's easy. It's so easy. All right. With a full license, you are allowed to drive any car. Doesn't matter which car. You're allowed to drive blue cars, red cars, yellow cars, not pink cars, but any other. I'm kidding. Yes, of course you're allowed to drive pink cars. I like bananas, oranges, apples, any fruit. I mean, all the fruit, I love them. So any here refers to, okay, any here with a singular noun or uncounted nouns when we are talking about all of. When we are talking about all of. So it's important to pay attention to this. We're talking about all of. Any child can do it. Anyone can go. Anybody can swim. Any chair would do. I mean, doesn't matter which chair, any chair would do. They're all fine. Give me any chair. All right? Specific and general determiners. Note, any is also used as a quantifier. So a quantifier is to, normally we use quantifiers to say how much of something is there. Okay? So, any is used as a quantifier in negative and in questions. Okay? So, interrogative sentences, that means just a fancy word of saying questions. So, any is used as a quantifier in negatives and in questions, right? Let's take a look. Uh, would you like? Oh, okay, no. That's a different example. There are no examples for any as a quantifier in negative and questions. So let's make an example. Okay, so too big. Let me. Okay, I don't own any. I don't own any pets. I don't own any pets. So this is a quantifier in negative sentences. In a negative sentence, I don't own any pets. 0 pets. No pets. I don't own any pets. We can use it in a question form, or like, do you have any children? Do you have any children? Again, this is a quantifier for in a question form to ask about the numbers of children that you have, if you have any. Okay, so let's move on to another. Another is to talk about additional people or additional things. It's about to talk about an additional person or an additional thing. Let's see. Would you like another glass of wine? It means, do you want an additional glass of wine? Would you like another cup of coffee? Okay, in the plural form, I spoke to John, Helen, and a few other friends. I spoke to John, Helen, and a few other friends. Notice how we used and we use it if you have more than one, then you use and right before the last, okay? I spoke, and don't forget the comma. I spoke to John, Helen, Fred, Samantha, and other friends. So after each person, you will add a comma until the last person, and then you wouldn't add a comma. The last person, and you wouldn't add a comma, but you add a full stop at the end. We are going to talk about punctuations today, actually. So another, it means just additional, right? Okay, now let's take a look at intensifier and mitigators. What are intensifiers? We use words like really, very, extremely to make the sentence more to give more emphasis, or to make the sentence more intense, right? Hence the word intensifier, to intensify. All right, let's take a look. She speaks English very well. They behaved really foolishly. It means they behaved like stupid people. He put a glass down extremely carefully. He put a glass down extremely carefully. He didn't want to break the glass or spill what's in the glass. Okay, so those are called intensifiers, like very, really, extremely. Those are all. Okay, let's only highlight the intensifiers: very, really, and extremely. Okay, we call these words intensifiers. Other intensifiers are amazingly, exceptionally, incredibly, remarkably, particularly. There are a lot of intensifiers. They just intensify what we're talking about. They make the adverb stronger, right? So we also use enough to say more about an adverb, but enough comes after its adverb. What does that mean? She didn't win. She didn't play well enough. Okay, so enough comes after well, and that is the adverb. Well is an adverb. Enough comes after to say that she didn't do the best she could. So we use enough to say more about an adverb, but enough comes with its own adverb. Okay, now let's take a look at mitigators. We use the word mitigators. Okay, so intensifiers are to make an adverb stronger, right? Mitigators is to make it in the middle. So intensifiers, they make the adverb strong. Mitigators, they make the adverbs in the middle. Okay, not very strong, not very weak. It's in the middle. So mitigators are like fairly, rather, and quiet. Like, she speaks English fairly well, you know. They behaved rather foolishly, not too foolish. They were not too foolish. They were kind of foolish, you know, in the middle. The children played quite happily. It means they're not extremely happy, but they were not unhappy. They were quite happy, like, you know, right up there. We call those words mitigators. Mitigators are opposite of intensifiers. Actually, they're in the middle. So if intensifier are the extreme, mitigators are right here in the middle. Punctuation marks. Punctuation marks. English language has many punctuation marks, and you will usually learn to use them, or to use many of them as you master the language. So let's take a look about the punctuation marks and when to use them. So first of all, we have full stop. Okay, a full stop, which is this one, we use it at the end of the sentence to show that that the paragraph is completed. Question mark, we use it to indicate that this is a question. Question mark, speech marks. Those are just air quotes, speech mark, you know. Have you seen people talking and going like that? That just means air quotes, like quote unquote. You have apostrophe, this one right here. You know, apostrophe like apostrophe S when you have possession, or you have, we use apostrophe in contractions. Comma. A comma is used to separate the sentences. Okay, it doesn't end the paragraph, but it's just used to separate the sentences. A hyphen. We talked about the hyphen. We're going to talk more about the hyphen later. So a hyphen is just a dash that, you know, connect or separate two nouns or words. Underline, used in email addresses and some other stuff. Exclamation mark, to show that you are excited or you are shocked, or, you know, to express your extreme emotions. The exclamation mark. Then you have the colon, semicolon, parentheses, which are these. You have brackets, and you have ellipsis. All right, so let's take a look here. A full stop, or punctuation, the punctuation mark full stop, also known as a period, in American English, is one of the most commonly used punctuation marks in the English language. Analysis of text indicates that approximately half of all punctuation marks used are full stops. So they're very common. Rules for punctuation, the punctuation rules, mostly used at the end of a declarative sentence or a statement that is considered to be completed. So a full stop or a period to show that this sentence or this statement is complete. The punctuation mark is also used following an abbreviation. A full stop can also show the end of a group of words that don't form a typical sentence. The full stop examples. Let's take a look at some full stop examples. All right, so first one. My name's Beth, and I was 18 in July. Mr. White was talking to Mr. Smith. End the sentence. Question mark. So a question mark is an interrogative sentence to show that you're asking a question. All right. Let's go to apostrophe. Apostrophe indicates possession. It can also indicate a contraction. So either possession or contraction. Like Charles' army. He joined Charles' army. Or Sally's hair. Or children's poetry. Okay. Now a comma. A comma is used to show the difference between two separate ideas or elements within a sentence. Okay, so a comma is used in the same sentence to show two separate ideas in the sentence. Commas have other uses as well, as it can be used to separate numbers and write dates. The comma rules: add a comma when two separate sentences are combined. So you have a sentence and you combine them, so you use a comma to separate those two sentences. So it will be more clear for the reader to understand. Example, we purchased some cheese and we purchased some fruit. So this is one sentence, we combine them and we put a comma to separate the sentences. Use commas between words in a series. Note that commas does not follow the last word in the series. Okay? What does that mean? Like, for example, as we said earlier, like you have like many people, so you name them and you put the comma after each name, and then the last one, you put a comma and then you said and you give the last person's name. Like, for example, I invited Sam, Alex, Ronan, and Samantha. I don't know why I keep saying Samantha today. Okay, so, all right, let's talk about exclamation mark. So exclamation mark is to show emphasis. You can use it in the middle of a sentence or at the end of a sentence. When used at the end of a sentence, it is also a role of a full stop or a period. So when do we use it? It's to show emotion, strong emotion. To show, whoops, wrong tool. Okay, so we use it to show strong emotion or give command. Stop, yeah, sit down. What a lovely day. What a lovely view you have there. Okay, so to show emotion. All right, now let's take a look at a colon. A colon is fairly common punctuation mark with a varied number of use. Let's take a look. It can be used to introduce a quotation, an example, a series, or even an explanation. Secondly, it can be used to separate two independent clauses. Finally, a colon can be used to show emphasis. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. You have two choices: finish your work or lose the contract. That's because we have one goal, and then you put the colon and then you say your goal. For you to consider your website a success. John has all the ingredients. Minced clams, milk, potatoes, and onions. Okay, now a semicolon is used to separate two independent clauses while still demonstrating that a close relationship exists between them. Okay, so a semicolon normally is, instead we can use semicolon instead of conjunction. So instead of using a conjunction, like, for example, if you want to say, let's see the example here. My daughter is a teacher, my son is a doctor. Okay, so here we can use a conjunction like, my daughter is a teacher and my son is a doctor, or you can say, my daughter is a teacher, but my son is a doctor. So instead of using a conjunction like and or but, we can use a semicolon to replace the conjunction. Let's take a look at the hyphen. Now, the hyphen is very important, okay? It has different uses. First one, a hyphen is short line, used in English language to connect parts of a compound word or connect split words. All right, so let's see their most common uses. So first one is, a compound word is made by combining two separate words. We use a hyphen, such as bookkeeper. So we say bookkeeper instead of connecting it or putting a space between it, we can use a hyphen. That's not to say that this one is wrong or this one is wrong, but a hyphen can be used here. Okay? The current trend in English is to get rid of unnecessary hyphens. So now in English, the current trend, because the current trend is a lazy trend, they don't want to add more things to their writing, so they just eliminate the hyphen. Okay, so common compounds, words that do not require hyphen: rainforest, website, baseball, cannot, headache, laptop, businessman, school teacher. Here are a few common compound words that are usually written with a hyphen, such as truck driver, ice cream, year-end, sign-in, warm-up, mother-in-law, free-for-all. Those are common words that are normally written with hyphen. Okay, so let's talk about the rules of the hyphen. So we use a hyphen to join two or more words that stand as a single adjective. Like for example, chocolate covered. Whoops, wrong tool. Chocolate covered, donut, well known, actor, much needed, vacation, nice looking, girl. So those are compound adjectives. We use those two to make one adjective. Like chocolate covered, it means covered with chocolate. Well known, it means popular or famous. Much needed, it means really needed. Nice looking, it means beautiful. So those are compound adjectives. They're two words that mean one. They have both words are combined with a hyphen to mean to give one meaning. But we don't use them for two adjectives that mean different things, like friendly little girl, beautiful red dress, small round ball. Those are, we don't use hyphen with those because they don't mean the same thing. Those are different adjectives, right? We also use a hyphen when we spelled out a number. We covered this in our number lessons. Numbers between 21 and 99, we always use a hyphen when we write them, like so. Rule number 3, when we spell out fractions, we also covered this in our number lessons, 1/3, 2/4, and so on. Rule number 4, we use hyphen to avoid confusion in meaning. What does that mean? Like for example, if I say a little used car, or if I say a little used car. Now they're both the same, but they mean something different. You look at the placing of the hyphen. In the first one, a little used, that means little used are used as a compound adjective. Little used car, that means the car was not used too much. It's a little used, right? But in the second one, the hyphen is between used and car. Little used car, that means a small size car. You see how the hyphen changes the meaning and it avoids confusion. So that's why we use a hyphen to make our statement more clear to the reader. Is it little used car or little used car? Okay? We use a hyphen with some job titles like Attorney General, Vice President. We use a hyphen before proper nouns like anti-Republican. Oh, sorry, prefix. We use a hyphen before we hyphenate prefixes before proper nouns, okay? Hyphenate prefixes before, so a prefix are the letters that come before the word is called a prefix. The letters that comes after the word, they're called suffix. So we use a hyphen we use a hyphen after the prefix of proper nouns, like anti-Republican, pre-Vietnam War, mid-May. Okay, we also use hyphen with most words that begin with the prefix self. Okay, when we have the prefix self, normally we use a hyphen. Self-control, self-defense, self-check, self-respect, self-indulgence, anything that starts with self is always hyphenated, right? We use hyphen with anything with the suffix, with the prefix ex. Ex-wife, ex-boss, ex-partner, ex-military, ex-student. We use a hyphen with most words that begin with the prefix non. Non-smoker, non-alcoholic, non-violent. We use the hyphen with words that end with the same letter. We use hyphen when the prefix ends in the same letter as the word begin. Okay? Semi-invalid. Interrelated. All right. Next one, we use hyphen with the prefix re. As I mentioned before, re, it means to do it again. Okay, so recover, Okay, we use a hyphen with the word re, it means do it again. Okay, not when the verb actually has a re in it. We don't use a hyphen for this. Like for example, recover, it means get better. That is actually the verb, is recover. But not this. Here is recover, it means to cover something again. All right, so if the verb starts with re, then there is no hyphen. But if we are using re as in do it again, then we use a hyphen. Okay, one last use for hyphens is to break the lines. This is normally in written English. Like for example, if you're reading a book and then there is no space and the page ends, and the page ends and you have no space to finish the word, so you just put a hyphen and then you start on the next page and you put another hyphen and you complete the word. Like, let's see. Oh yeah, like here, look. Joe worked in a company for many years. Finally, he made a DC and the page ended. You don't have space, or the line ended. You don't have space to finish the word. You just put a hyphen here and then you continue the word. Decision, to quit the job. All right, this will do it for today, guys. Make sure you don't skip the quiz. I'll see you next class.